Story 1.
It was so cold outside my window that it had those icicles on it. I had just woken up from my nap to my phone buzzing. My mom left me a message saying, "Hi, it's Mom. I work till noon tonight. They say it's going to stop snowing when I get off." I liked it when it snowed because I would watch movies and drink hot cocoa. I go make myself a cream of chicken soup, and I go back upstairs. I turn the TV on and put on Netflix. Some time passes, like 20 minutes, and my phone buzzes. I expect it to be my mom again, so I pick it up instantly. It is a text from a random person, and it says, "Did you make it inside or not?" I block the person because it is not someone I know. Now a good 3 minutes pass, and my phone buzzes again. This time, quicker than before, I pick it up, and it's a text from another random number. This is what it says before I even open my code on my phone. "You know I'm on blank and blank, waiting for you to tell me if you're in or not. I see your phone tracker leads to this address. I have been outside walking around for 30 minutes. I left out my street name and my address for my privacy. This whole thing went from 0 to 100 fast, and my heart started beating very badly. Without even thinking, I run downstairs and make sure everything is locked. I looked outside of every window, and no one was there. It occurred to me I missed one window, and it was the only one that faced the backyard, and it was mine. I go upstairs and pull my thick and large curtains back and see a man on his phone in a thick, puffy jacket. Now I called my mom, but she doesn't carry her phone on her shift. It sits in her tiny locker that her job gives her. So I texted her there was a creepy man outside, and I was going to call 911. So I call 911, and within 5 minutes a police officer comes over here and arrests the dude, and that is that. I'm told that he was a wanted person for robbery and hit and run. 2 hours passed by, and I had calmed down and had my hot cocoa. The sound of the snow started to make me tired, and I felt like I was going to pass out. I was on the verge of blacking out, and then directly above me, a loud thud could be heard. I felt frozen in place because I knew only 3 boxes were in our attic. Each one had stuff centered around the last place we were at over a year ago. Now I could just say it was a part of our place or check it out. I was not going up there, so I just sat there. I heard something down the hall that sounded like a crash. Now I knew there was someone in our house. No crash, just happens out of the ordinary. I locked my door, and I put my chair to my desk up against it. My phone made a buzz, and I was convinced that it was my mom. So I checked it, and it said, "I see you." I screamed and threw my phone across the room. Something happened that, in the moment, I never expected to happen. My phone rang, and it was the same number that texted me. All I could think about was why me or my house. So the curiosity got to me, and I answered the phone. The dude who picked up had the voice of Ghostface and said 2 sentences that made me sure I was dead. "If you think you're going to make it out of this alive, you're mistaken. You snitched on my partner, and now I'm going to take you out of this house dead or alive." I hung up and called 911 again. They said it would be 10 minutes due to the increased snow. As I was on the phone with the operator, I could hear the guy above me say, "Don't worry, he won't be here when you all get here, and nor will I." At this moment, I started questioning everything. My life flashed before my eyes, and all I wanted was another chance to do better. Running could be heard going down the hallway, and a loud boom at my door. Repeated booms kept going from my door, and over again, banging at my door. The man said, "Let me in," as loud as he could. I felt so hopeless saying what I was going through. I heard a loud siren and a boom downstairs, and it only got worse. The cops broke down my door and took the guy to their car. The whole time all he is saying is, "I need justice." A cop waits at home with me until my mom gets off work and explains everything to her. The phone from the last guy who went to jail revealed I had almost the same number as him. The last digit of my number was 4, and his was 5. The first guy had a backpack that was hidden in my backyard with a hacking device to see every little bit of information about me. Later that year, we moved out and sold the house.
Story 2.
Working the theater kind of sucked because you either got a clean one or didn't. Sometimes there was no telling what you could find on the ground. I have to be honest, if you find money, like, who is going to return that? I worked Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. I was cool with the manager because he would give me overtime. Not only that, but I was making $16 an hour to clean movie theaters. The restroom was a whole different story. A dude who did not even speak English cleaned that. Anyways, one night, I'm working my last theater, and thankfully, is not too bad. There is some popcorn in the rows, and that's it. The movie specifically got over at 1 in the morning. It was now 1:30 a.m., so I've been here a while. I have 2 more rows left, and they are in the very back. On the opposite side, something catches my eye. It is a phone, which does not surprise me. We have a whole box of phones that I, along with other staff, found. As I walk out, my manager tells me he has a family emergency and that I need to do him a solid and lock up. I tell him he can repay me by letting me have some Skittles, and he laughs and says go for it and leaves. He goes out the door, and I go back to doing my thing and finish off the last of my work. I leave out to the hallway where multiple rooms are, and from the corner of my eye, I see a face. I turn at the blink of an eye and look, and no one is there. I go into the theater where I saw the face, and it's pitch black. I get my phone, and I search around just to see if I'm crazy or not. Legit, nothing is there, just what usually is. A cleared theater and nothingness, and the projector that is on, but not really on, if you know what I mean. I tell myself I have to get out of here. I go home and then sleep, and the usual happens, and this time I get off at 12 a.m. today. I clear my last row, and I leave the same as yesterday. I go, and again, I see another face out of the corner of my eye. I rush in there, and nothing is there. Now I hear a phone ringing in the bottom row. I go and see it, and it says Timmy on the caller name. I answer, and I say, "Hey, I work at the blank theater, and this person must have lost their phone." The guy is silent for a whole minute, and I say hello. He says, "Yeah, I lost my friend a few days ago in a car crash." We all wanted to know, where his phone was to keep it as part of his memories. I told the guy that I was not denying he lost his friend, but it was impossible that happened because I was the one who cleared this theater yesterday. I told him I heard a noise in here and seen or thought I saw a face, but nothing was in here. No phone or guy at all. His friend told me he was having a hard time believing me, and I told him the same. I went out and told my manager, and he agreed to have the guy come pick up his friend's phone. Some time passes and the dude arrives. The guy comes in, and my manager says, "That's a pretty interesting story you all have there." I said I know, and pulled out the phone from behind the counter and gave it to him. To me, the guy was pretty cool, so we exchanged Instagrams. So the next day rolls around, and I'm going to save you the hassle of the same thing. I see a face again and go to the theater door, and before I go in, I look to the ceiling, and I see a camera. I go straight to my manager, and I say, "Dude, you did not tell me there was a camera there." I'm done with everything, so I clock out, and just before I leave, I and my manager both hear a buzz from the box of phones, and it was the one for the previous night, and the text said, "I hope you had fun with my little experiment. I'm not dead. Silly. I just wanted you to fear me as if I were a ghost." It wasn't hard to draw conclusions that the guy had been messing with us. We found out that the fire escape alarm was broken, so the guy who got the phone was going in through that way. Not only that, but the night he got the phone, we looked at the camera circling towards the back.
Story 3.
So many people in high school talked about this one spot in a graveyard. And if you went there at 3 a.m., you would get a phone call from someone saying to leave because the property was now closed. The call was from a worker who recorded the message, and it would be said when you called after hours. Now, it may not sound scary, but how in the world do they get your number? Only so many people in my school went there, and their stories were usually tainted with lies. No zombie was coming out of the ground because that is ridiculous. I tell some of the people I know that I'm going to go there at 12 a.m. sharp. They ask if they can tag along. I told them, "Hey, if something happens, you'll be my bait, so ahead." We exchange a couple of laughs, and some time passes. I decided it would be a good idea to take a nap because it was a school week and I had been up since 7 a.m. So an hour passed, and I got a call from someone yelling at me. I realized it was the person from high school that I was supposed to go to the place with. I knew I was in the wrong, so I apologized and ran there as fast as I could. I get there, and I am 5 minutes late. To me, it was no big deal because I planned the whole thing. We get to the point where everyone says you receive the phone call, and to our surprise, we get phone call. It was for a local pizza company, though. I started laughing because I heard so many stories, but with everyone having phones, what did I expect? I knew at least someone had to have recorded it. The main person in the group who called me said he had plans of ghost hunting, and I said, that's a good idea. We find a really old grave that says 1905 to 1925. Each one of us sits down, and we try and listen to see if anything comes over the spirit radio. I get so bored because he has like 5 devices that don't get a single thing. I tell him it is late, and this trip was a failure, and he agrees. So he, and everyone else leave. As we are passing through that one point where you hear the phone call, we get a phone call. I guess I should say I get one. It is a guy, and he said, "I told you that we are closed, and you shouldn't be here after hours." I hear that, and all the jokes along with my tire mentality leave. What's even crazier is I did not even feel tired anymore. It was like I had a burst of energy from pure fear. Everyone in my group says, "What the fuck?" At the same time, I'm still trying to figure out how they got my number and what I just heard. We didn't know if we should run or hide. Without even muttering a word, we run to the gate. A car can be seen pulling into it, and we stop and run in the opposite direction. There's one gravestone that is like 10 feet tall, so we hide behind that one. A dude gets out with long white hair and pale skin. So pale he honestly looks like he is dead. We start whispering, "Who is that? And how are we getting out?" I told everyone I was going to film this, because if we didn't make it, someone will at least see this. I pull out my phone again, and I get a phone call as soon as I'm about to film. "Hey kid, you have some guts to still be here. Don't worry, I can smell you and your friends. I'll make you all a pretty gravestone since you all decided to not leave after I made the call." I said, "Hey wait, want a loo?" Then he hung up the phone. My friends said they wished they had brought protection, if you know what I mean. Oh yeah, I say friends because yes, spoiler alert, we did make it out of there and became good friends. We decided it would be a good idea to do the old. Make a sound and distraction. This might sound weird, but finding a rock in a graveyard is very hard, or at least this one. So one of my friends had to throw one of the ghost devices. Right away, the mysterious man ran out of his truck that was parked with the lights on to go see it. We booked it very fast and in a hurry. We got a man's car. It was like perfect timing. He ran after us with a shovel and said, "I was so close to making your gravestones. Please stay, please, please, please." The story doesn't end here, though. Yes, we all made it out alive and as friends from that day forward. There was one night, one week, exactly from when all that stuff happened, that I woke up at 3 a.m. and had a burning in my chest. This burning was followed by nausea. I proceeded to throw up tons and tons of dirt and worms. I woke up, and it was just a dream. Not even a minute later, the guy called me and said, "If I ever see you or your friends again, I will send you to the underworld." Chills rushed down my spine, and then the call went silent, and I heard, "The caller you're trying to reach does not exist. Goodbye."